Good evening. We are returning from executive session. Welcome to the open session of the North Andover School Committee meeting of Thursday, January 29th, 2026. We're here at the Senior Center. Please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're going to start with the consent agenda. Minutes, Mr. Brown,
Yes.
January 8th and January 15th.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I would like to propose we approve the minutes of January 8th and January 15th as they are presented in the packet.
Was that a motion?
Oh, sorry, I move that
Thank
we
you, sir.
do that.
Thank you. Take your 30 seconds to review both the 8th and the 15th.
Yes, and as always, I've previewed them and made any corrections that were necessary already.
Thank you, sir. All righty. Any further discussion? Mr. Brown?
Yes?
Mr. Moskovich?
Yes.
Mrs. Cormier?
Yes.
And chair votes yes. That reminds me, Mrs. Sands will be unable to join us tonight, but I have some remarks for her to read on her behalf later on. Mrs. Ando, do you have a donation for us?
We are
Or
going
we
to
have a
invite,
donation.
yes, I'm going to invite our athletic
Oh.
director, Steve Nugent, to
Hi,
come
Mr.
up,
Nugent.
and he's going to share with us. We have a donation from the Booster Club.
So per policy, we need to vote on accepting any donation or gift over the value of $1,000. So is it over 1,000?
Yes, it is.
Okay, then.
Thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate the opportunity to. Yeah, so do you all have that in your packet tonight?
Yes.
Okay, just to make sure. So you tell me, you want me to read from this letter for the
Sure.
audience out there? Is that okay? All right. So this is a letter I received just the other day and notified Pam, and thank you for the opportunity to get this on the agenda so quickly. So the North Andover Booster Club sent this letter to me. The North Andover Booster Club is truly grateful for the support we have received from the North Andover Public Schools in our shared interest in promoting youth sports for our town's children. Many of our NABC participants enjoy having access to gyms and playing fields that are maintained by North Andover Public Schools. As a result, we would like to make two separate donations to the North Andover Public Schools to further demonstrate our deep appreciation for our collaborative relationship. So they sent this along with two checks. One check is in the amount of $22,493.40. It is. And the history behind
the light bulbs?
Yeah, so I think, obviously everything costs money. And we were, over the course of the fall, noticing in Walsh Stadium that there were, I would count every time we had a night game, we had 11 light bulbs out. Now, this may not sound like a lot, and we have 72. I didn't know we had 72. We talked a little bit about trying to upgrade this into an LED platform similar to what you would see at like Fenway Park with the light show at the end of games and things like that. That cost $300,000, so that was not in the budget. However, Booster Club uses it for football and a lot of other programs. They have been incredibly generous. So this is their first formal donation to the North Andover through this process while I've been the athletic director. So we had a price done by the town, the Coviello, which is the electrician that we have used for a lot of other projects in town, and this was the specific. That's renting the crane, that's labor, and the bulbs. And then the second check is for $12,428.48, again, very specific. And again, probably for about 2 years now, I have been going back and forth with a company that's in Massachusetts that's on the state bid list, where I think we purchased a gator for our custodians to use in the district. We have an athletic trainer who has been funded through the new funding process through the athletic program, and she is driving around a golf cart to access all points of the facility, as well as Stevens Estate when we have a cross-country meet. That golf cart is about 15 years old. It's on its last legs, and the last word I got this summer was, if you bring it to us, we are not fixing it again. So as we anticipate rolling this into the spring, it's doubled by the fact that we would use this, if accepted and we purchase this, We have made a commitment to the town where they generously set aside funds to create that amazing baseball, softball field. We have not really done a lot of maintenance on our turf fields, and technically we're supposed to be doing it once every 2 weeks. This particular gator, which would double for the athletic trainer in the afternoons, but also allow us to once every 2 weeks maintain the fields with equipment that ironically was just delivered today. So I'm here before you literally with the 2 checks, this letter, the invoices, the estimates, asking that if you'll consider allowing us to accept these donations so we can purchase and move forward with these 2 things.
Can I just ask you to define what a gator is? That people
Sorry,
know?
yeah. So I think it might be like a tissue or a Kleenex. It's kind of like one of those. So a gator is like one of those, like a John Deere, just a 4-wheel mobile. It's kind of like a souped-up golf cart, if you will. It has the ability to tow certain things that would allow us to, there's 3 different attachments that would go on. You know, it would buff up the turf to make the blades stand up. It would vacuum up certain things. And then I think it allows us also to spread rubber if we need to like infill some more rubber or sand.
Probably even could put a snowplow on it.
I honestly think that's an attachment that didn't come with this package
So
today.
you don't need it.
But it's definitely something I would look into, and it probably would have that capability.
One of those cleaned my sidewalk.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Better than me.
So we'll take, I'll start with the motion
So moved.
to
Accept
accept the,
the gifts as
Thank
laid
you.
out on this letter from Michael Valentino.
thank you, Mr. Moskovich.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Discussion?
This is a fantastic donation from the Booster Club for
Mm-hmm.
our students, so thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you for facilitating this with them and continuing to improve what our students have access to. Thank you.
Yeah.
As a longtime member of the Booster Club Board, I really appreciate my former colleagues doing this for us. Can you please relay that to
I
them?
mean, 35, almost, just under $35,000 is not a small
No, it's not.
chunk of change. So thank you very much to them. My son played football the last couple of years, and one of the great things about being on the North Andover football team is that when you have games on the weekend for the middle school and younger kids, it's under the lights at Walsh Stadium, which the other towns don't do, and it's just really cool and really fun. So like everyone gets to use that field. So I'm
Amazing.
glad they're helping out to support and keep it doing
It's a
well.
lot more use that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's what's great about it. So no more discussion. We'll move on to a vote. Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Moskovich.
Yes.
Mrs. Cormier.
Yes,
And I vote yes. Thank you very much, sir.
thank you.
Thank you, guys. Who can I leave these checks with?
I was going to say Kristen, but Gail.
And again, thank you again to you all, but also to the Booster Club for this.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
Mr. Dwight. Thank you very much.
We should mention the Booster Club membership, where this money comes from. is
Yeah,
all
they did something
town
to raise it.
People, right?
Yeah,
So we
that's-
should really give a shout out
Yeah.
to everyone in town whose children play sports, and we're paying that money. So thank you to everybody.
They do a lot of sports and a lot of great things.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Communications, Student Representative Report. We have Han here, our newly inducted member of the National Honor Society. Sorry, did I steal your thunder for that one?
Nope, I didn't put that on.
Okay.
I mean, I put the night on, but yes. It's nice to
Thank
see you.
you.
Nice to see you.
So I guess I'll just start with DECA's event Credit for Life is happening on February 4th, and this is where juniors will be going to this event to learn more about financial literacy and just financial planning for the future. Student Council's Candygrams fundraiser is happening from February 9th to February 12th. NHS or National Honor Society hours are going to be due soon for the end of the semester. Our February break starts February 15th. Grades should be finalized in Power School Friday next week. Grease was a massive success with 4 performances. Rehearsals have now started for a new and shorter play, Booby Trap. This is what they'll be competing for Drama Fest competition, and more information about that will come out soon. 8th grade night is on February 5th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., and this is where the 8th graders and their families will come to the school with student ambassadors helping out to help tour them and just tell them more about our high school. Also remember to check out the NAS Future Plans 2026 to see where some of the seniors are going, which is on Instagram. Class of 2027 has been hosting a fundraiser this week, selling midterm snack packs where you can buy a treat before midterms. Asian Student Association also had a bake sale fundraiser last week that went really well. Spring sports preseason meetings are starting, and you can check Mr. Nugent's email for the dates. And lastly, midterms have been going well and will continue into next week due to the snow days. And unfortunately, that is why I have to leave a little early tonight, so I'm sorry about that.
Not
support that.
Study, we support
I don't know if I
100%.
support that. What do you have tomorrow?
I have my English midterm and math.
That's a good reason.
Yeah, go Matt.
I guess that works. You'll be great. You've done all the hard work already, I bet.
Yeah, I gotta study a tiny bit more. We'll see how it goes.
Any queries, questions, comments for?
Just a quick one on the Credit for Life event. I'm gonna volunteer there, and Mr. Oberlander reached out to me to look for more volunteers. So if anybody listening is
When is
available,
it?
it's a Thursday morning.
February 4th.
Yeah, Thursday morning, I believe, 9 to 11
Yeah,
approximately.
it's in the morning.
Yeah, but he could use a few more volunteers from the community, so if anybody's available, please consider doing that.
You'll do great tomorrow and next week.
Thank you.
It's most important to get a good night's sleep.
Yes.
Because you already know everything.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Public comment. Moving on to upcoming events.
I didn't print myself a copy, so I'm sorry.
You're gonna have to-
Yeah,
Share off, it's here, so just a few things coming up. In February, the North Andover Middle School 6 and 7 have a band concert on the 3rd, and then on the 4th, grade 8, and then on the 4th, grade 8 and North Andover High School Wind Ensemble will combine, and they'll have a concert from 7 to 9. On the 5th, I think Han just spoke about it, it's the 8th grade transition and information night, so it's when the 8th graders have an opportunity to go to the high school, and that's from 6 to 8:30. And then just a reminder, our winter break starts on February 16th and it runs through the 20th. On February 25th, we have an early release day. On February 25th also starts the Drama Fest that we just heard about. That's from 7 to 8. February 26th, we have a school committee meeting, and on February 26th, the Drama Fest continues. Originally, when the calendars were printed for North Andover Public Schools, February 4th, I believe, was clicked as a early release day. It is not an early release day. We did reissue new calendars, but just as a reminder, if anyone has the old calendar and you see that, your child will go to school for a full day. That day.
Can we send out a,
I think the principals are putting that, we'll have them put that in their newsletters, and we've sent some things out.
maybe a robocall on Tuesday night? Or usually they send something on Sunday or Monday.
Yes, yeah, so some reminders of that.
That'd be great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All righty. Superintendent's report and
Right.
budget status update.
Moving right along, am I first? I am, and I have printed these out, so you're good.
Okay.
So here's our first photo. We enjoyed a couple of snow days this week, and our students had some good fun down at the, depending on how you're looking at it, at the bottom down there with the red sled. Those are some students from Atkinson School, and then above that's a Franklin School student. In the middle, we have two Atkinson School students and an ABECC student who decided to make some good old-fashioned snow cones on the snow day. And then in the top right hand corner, that's a family of 4, and those students, they go to school at Thompson and at North Andover Middle School. Their mom's also a teacher here in town. And then the bottom, I thought that was a nice photo of some of our high school athletes who did a good deed by shoveling out a family's driveway who is going through some tough times right now.
I don't know if the one in the back left there is doing a good.
Well, okay. Just a little bit of fun. Maybe
Having fun? Is that allowed?
We're gonna go with a good deed.
Yeah, that looks like.
I want to see what happened immediately after this
Right.
picture.
I guess I didn't pay attention to that too carefully. But just about the snowstorm, just thank you to everybody who cooperated. I know it was challenging a few days. It's always challenging to get those calls out. We try to get them out as soon as possible. We certainly want to go to school when we can, but we want to keep our students safe. And we really want to thank the North Andover DPW, fire and police, who worked tirelessly through the night to get our schools and our streets as ready as they could be. Nothing's ever perfect, but those men and women did a wonderful job and had many sleepless nights trying to get us ready for school, so thank you very much. North Andover Middle School is doing a food drive this week, and they combined it with a Spirit Week. So they're focusing on the S, the service part of Raise. You can't really see that sign, but it was cute. Today they collected beans, and it was a rootin' tootin' cowboy day at the middle school.
middle schoolers.
Wear your cowboy gear and bring in your beans. And I will say, the central office decided to partner with them, so we have our own box in central office, and we have been bringing in on the days as well.
Straight from the, is that the Mel Brooks, influence on the middle schoolers?
Maybe.
That's really funny.
Wednesday was Prince Spaghetti Day, which I
Yep,
thought
we had
was
Prince
great.
Spaghetti Day, there was a mac and cheese day. I said to someone, I'll tell you my secret. I bought mine over the weekend, and I brought it into central office, and I deposited it in the box. Well, a box of mac and cheese must have fallen out in my trunk. And when I was doing something this weekend with snow-related, I went into my car and I saw the box of mac and cheese. And I was never so happy as a grown adult to make myself a box of macaroni and Kraft macaroni and cheese for dinner. So moving on, we want to recognize North Andover Middle School had their spelling bee. It was held on Thursday, January 22nd. Eva Sadiri, she was the winner. And the second place was Christina Castro, and third place was Sartar Sankala. Mr. Mueller took over. This is something that Mr. Gonzalez has been running for the past few years, but a teacher stepped up, and he took over running and planning the spelling bee, and there he is. Just so you know, the winning word was heptathlon.
Heptathlon.
Heptathlon. Oh, heptathlon, sorry.
Heptathlon, okay.
7-event, it's like the, not pentathlon, the decathlon, but for the women at the
Yes.
international track competition.
Very good. 7 events, 100-meter high jump, shot put, 200-meter long jump, javelin, and 800-meter.
They used the Baton Rouge.
We want to recognize some students who are in the all-state choir and band. We had 3 North Andover music students audition for a spot, and we were pleased to announce that some students were selected from North Andover. Henry Marshall, class of 26, he's going to be in the all-state choir as a voice and tenor, and Yasha Takari, class of 27, is in the all-state band as the bass clarinet. They will be participating at the DCU Center in Worcester in March.
Did they go somewhere to audition, or did somebody come here?
Oh, they went someplace. I think, yes.
It's kind of cool.
It is cool. Yeah, it's great. Also, I think we talked about already, the North Andover High School had their National Honor Society. We are the Johnson chapter of the National Honor Society. I think I have this number right. They inducted 146 students, both juniors and seniors. The National Honor Society is led by Amy O'Teary, who's one of our teachers in North Andover, and the class officers are Rachel McDevitt, Kieran Ringler, Olivia Fitz-Zinger, and Catherine Fry, and they hosted the ceremony. It was a lovely event. This year they did something new. When the students had their names called and they came on stage, they had a screen much like the one behind me where they had a large picture of the student selected, so that everybody in the audience could have a better look at who that student was. It was really lovely. And as we heard, Grease was a smashing success. From the first note to the final bow, it was pure Grease lightning. Couldn't help myself. The show was fantastic. It was really clear how hard the kids worked. There was so much heart and dedication. Miss Looney, who runs the program, and her students really put a lot in, from the cast to the crew to the pit crew, everybody that was there, stage crew.
Orchestra, too.
Orchestra, yeah, pit crew. Just really delightful. There's just a couple of great pictures.
I wonder if they're going to come sing to us.
I don't know. We'll work on that, but it was just great. I think we have, who's that? The angel there from the Beauty School Dropout.
Oh,
He was
yeah.
great.
Teen Angel.
Teen
Oh,
Angel.
yes.
Oh, he was
The
fantastic.
picture there, just
Yeah.
fantastic.
It was great. Excuse me, Principal Radowski has asked that we recognize the Franklin School Professional Development. Her staff has been working with Emily Patt from the SEAM Collaborative. Emily is our inclusion specialist. She's part of SEAM Collaborative, and we cost share Emily with other districts who are also in SEAM. It's really been a wonderful collaboration for us. But during some of their recent collaboration meetings, they're working to deepen their understanding of executive function. The sessions have focused on identifying executive functioning strengths that they possess as educators. So it helps how they might build skills to help develop their children, and skills that they might use within their classrooms. It was really well received. I had 2 educators who are really veteran educators. They have been with us for a very long time, just unsolicited. Either one emailed me and one I saw in person tell me it was some of the best professional development they had seen and participated in, and that they knew that they could immediately go back in their classroom the next day and start using some of the things that they learned.
Would you be willing to go into a little more detail about that?
Sure. So Emily Pat, as I said, is our inclusion specialist, and this was one of the initiatives that Ms. Radelsky had going on at her school, and it's all around executive functioning, which really thinks about the sort of the frontal lobe, your frontal lobe, and how that you process, how your cognitive processing. That's the part of your brain for planning, for focus, for attention, for regulating your emotions, your attention, and the professional development was geared towards how the educators might utilize their own executive functioning skills when planning to help support their students develop their executive functioning skills.
Makes total sense.
Yeah, it was great. I could use that professional development. Continuing on at RISE, the RISE TAs from Franklin, we want to thank them. They came to a facilitated training by Seasons. Seasons is a organization that we're using to help us with our RISE program. They came on Friday, January 16th, and our teaching assistants don't work on that day. That's when our full SIS day. But Ms. O'Neill invited them, and the TAs came. They loved it. They were really excited. They thought the information that was presented to them and the facilitator was extremely knowledgeable. And they're looking forward to being able to do that again. And we just want to recognize that they came in on a day that they didn't have to. And we have some other TAs that are looking forward to having the opportunity to be able to do this. Not everyone was able to make the adjustment, but they were, and so we really appreciate that. Atkinson All-Stars, they've had a couple of Spirit Days that they shared with us. They did a Patriots Day, and then they also did a Color Day. They have what they call Raise Reps. That would be their version of a student council. And they wanted to brighten up the winter days of January, so they had every grade be a different color, and they had a lot of participation, and it was a lot of fun and a lot of pride in their school. Okay, am I there? Yeah, great. So then just a few updates from me. I want to just share a little bit about where we are with the strategic plan. I want to talk a little bit about U.S. immigration and custom enforcement. Sometimes that's referred to as ICE. And then share with you the capital improvement plans that we have going forward. In terms of strategic planning, the strategic plan committee met last week? Last week. Yeah, it seems like 2 snow days really throws you off. And the evening was spent on developing the vision of North Andover Public Schools. So we had the opportunity to look at what our current vision is. We looked at, we took into consideration all of the data that we have in our data folders, which is surveys, which is from focus groups, which is some of the other pieces of information that were in our data. And then we broke into 4 groups. Each group wrote a vision statement for the district. And then we had some time to come back, present them to each other, talk about it a little bit. So now we're sort of sitting with it. Each group is sitting with it. They were sent out because eventually we have to vote on one of them. But I can just say from my group, it was really wonderful. I say we had about 6 people in. We all really had the same basic idea of our vision for the district, but just sort of how we were going to wordsmith that a little bit and where the focus might be. I had a student in my group, I think most people did, and she was just delightful and very insightful about the things that she was talking about as a student. Yeah, do you want to share?
If I can add, because in our group we had 8, and we did have a student, and I kept trying to make sure the student got their input in. Our student was a little bit shy, but when asked, contributed, which was great. And the theme that I thought was kind of common through all 4 was that, we live in an ever-changing or dynamic world, and we should definitely have that in our vision to support our students as they go into a very, very rapidly changing environment the world we live in. Right? That seemed to be common, something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that.
Seemed to surface in all four,
Yeah.
which is kind of satisfying.
Yeah, it felt good to get to that point of thinking about what our vision might be. And then from there, we'll move into our mission, and then we still need to work on some objectives for some of the goals that we've set. And then in terms of ICE, I wanted to talk about this a little bit because I've had some inquiries lately whether or not ICE has been present in North Andover and what would happen if ICE was present in North Andover. I will put a statement in the next nightly news about that as well, but I thought this was an opportunity for me to maybe talk a little bit about that. I just want to really share, at this time, North Andover has no information of any indication that ICE or any federal law enforcement agency is having any action in our community, and whether there are any other federal agencies here. If there were any important matters like that came to our attention, the town and the school district would use our official communication channels, including the town listserv, social media, and reverse 911 to notify our residents if that was happening. I also want to make sure that people know that we ensure that our schools remain free from discrimination, from harassment or bullying that's based on race, ethnicity, national origin, or immigration status. Any alleged violations of our policies are always fully investigated. North Andover Public Schools does not make enrollment decisions based on immigration status. We do not inquire about a student's or family's immigration status, and we do not require documentation related to lawful presence in the United States. Our procedures and guidance are from the Massachusetts Attorney General and the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. I did put those links here. This is something that's live that everyone has access to, but again, it will be a nightly news for you to go and see, both the Attorney General's guidance and the guidance from the Department of Education. All of our principals have been informed of procedures to follow if federal authorities were to enter a school building. Any such individual would be directed to the main office. The principal would immediately notify the superintendent. They would then be directed to the superintendent's office, and any inappropriate documentation would be requested depending on the purpose of the visit. If federal authorities were to arrive with like a civil detainer seeking to take a student into custody, they would be informed that the district does not have the authority to release a child absent a court order or the consent of their parent or guardian. Our administration has been and we will continue to be trained in the appropriate response to this and any other potential situation. We always take safety. All of our training is done with safety, with dignity, and the well-being of our students as our priority. I feel very supported by our school and by our town officials, by our town legal counsel, as well as our other legal counsel that we employ, the Department of Education, DESE, and the Massachusetts Association of the School Superintendents. They're always available for consultation, and they are ready to assist when needed. We're going to continue to work together to ensure that our students remain safe, and they're welcomed, and that they're focused on learning. And so that's where we stand.
I mean, I agree with all of it. I think it's great. What I worry about is what happens when the principal does exactly what you said that he or she should do and the agent doesn't agree. I mean, it's horrible.
Yeah,
This is not a criticism of you. I'm just trying to think through what do we do.
It's hard to go into what ifs. I think we could spend a lot of time what if. I feel very confident that we are very well protected here in North Andover. Our North Andover Police Department is here, visible and non-visible in many ways. I've had to use them before for not something like this, but if there was a situation where a principal called me and they respond within seconds because of their proximity to the schools during the day.
That's
so
what
I
I was
have
kinda
every
hoping to
confidence
hear,
that
yeah.
they would be there. And both our middle school and our high school have a school resource officer that are based at the school.
Thank you.
So I feel
Sounds
very
good.
confident in our safety officers.
Thank you for protecting our children, all of our children.
Thank you. Yeah. So again, I will put this in the nightly news so that everyone has access to this and these.
And I'll make sure I link that in my meeting recap as well.
Absolutely. Excellent. And then just wanted to share with you that we did present our capital improvement, a request to the town. North Andover, and Mr. Landry's here if you have any questions, but the capital, he does that presentation for us. North Andover Public Schools submitted a total of 8 requests to the town for consideration. Our total costs were $2.23 million. The CIP priorities align with our district goals for operational excellence, technology improvement, safety, and high-quality learning spaces. And the town has also presenting to us some opportunities. We have some requested some vehicles, but they have some opportunities to help us out with that if it's not able to be in capital improvement. What we did put into capital improvement was the Franklin School modular classrooms. That's the relocation and installation of 4 modular classrooms from Kittredge to Franklin Elementary. That replaces aging portables. That's $1.3 million. We put in technology and safety upgrades. This is devices for students and staff, assistive technology for IEP and 504 students, a key fob, that's the like the way that our staff gets into the buildings, the key fob, security upgrades for the ABECC, that's our early childhood center and other sites, and the PA, what's that stand for?
Public address.
Thank you. Public address systems as well for $275,000. There is a request for exterior maintenance programs, so the paving, tree care, drainage, and athletic field and maintenance across campuses, that's $250,000. We're looking for an all-wheel drive for our director of maintenance, so he can access all of the schools year-round. A special education small bus, we're looking for a 15-passenger accessible bus for student transportation and program support. A 3/4-ton truck with plow to allow for landscaping and additional snow plowing, replace vehicle for landscaping and snow removal access on our campuses.
It's a big truck, but not a huge truck.
Okay, it's 3/4 of a truck.
3/4 ton.
3/4 ton.
It's a 3/4 ton, not a 1
Is
ton.
it 3/4 of a ton or a truck? And if so, which
A
wheel is
a
missing?
1-ton truck is
I have
very
a degree
big.
in education, not trucks.
That's your classic, dump truck.
A masonry study and repair, an engineering study to repair to the sergeant's bus canopies. So if you know where the sergeant is, they have these canopies that the kids stand under when they're waiting for the buses. High school masonry walls for safety and ADA compliance. And then the Atkinson School gym, we want to address the ceiling paint and the acoustics in the gym. It is very loud.
Very loud.
We actually had somebody come in, and it's at a decibel that nobody should be
Yeah,
Exposed to ever.
Having
Exposed to.
refed a lot of basketball games in there, it's really loud in there.
extremely loud.
So that's a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So those are our capital improvements that the town manager presented in the tri-board meeting. And then just upcoming school committee presentations, I have made a proposal to the chair, and I think he'll talk about it later, about potentially canceling on February 12th. If that happens, then February 26th would be the budget update, and then we'll also proposing that we do a mid-year data review. We'll have some data in at that time, and then a K-5 update in terms of where our schools are in their school improvement plans and other activities. That would be for K-5 on February 26th, and then on March 12th, we would do the similar presentation with our 6th through 12th grades. And then on March 26th, would be another budget update, and that would be the first time that we would come forward to the school committee to review user fees and any proposed changes for the fall,
For the,
for the next school year. Proposed changes for user fees.
oh, the user fees.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So that would be
Sure.
preschool,
No, I
busing,
get
all
it.
that good stuff. And that concludes my report.
Thank you so much.
Let's go, question?
Yes.
So speaking of user fees, we have a very nice new baseball, softball facility that we probably could rent out. So is that something we'll take up then?
Yes, I believe so. Mr. Nugent is already working on his proposal for user fees for that.
For that,
Yes.
right, 'cause
Yeah.
people-
We have an opportunity to create
Yeah.
some revenue.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Superintendent. We're going to turn it over to Ms. Dowd in just a moment. The superintendent called me last week and asked permission to share the budget update that we're about to get with the select board earlier this week. And customarily, we hear it first and then it sends to them, but they weren't going to have another meeting before the end of the month. So since it was nothing surprising report, we thought it was okay to share it with them before us in this case, to make sure that we meet that obligation. So,
Well,
The
you-
select
and
board
you-
has already seen this and it's already out there.
yeah.
I also went to the finance
Yes, I was going to say,
liaisons.
thank you for that, and I think that was appropriate, and it seemed good,
Yeah.
good, well.
And the question I asked the superintendent, is there anything surprising or out of the ordinary that we should hear about first? And she said no, so that makes me happy. Miss Dowd.
I was gonna say, and there's the presentation.
Is that right? So you can go home now?
I can go now. I don't have midterms tomorrow, so I think I have to stay.
We could probably schedule to take some type of math exam if you want.
I do have to renew my license. So included in your packet is the monthly update, and as usual, we do meet with the town manager, finance director, and town accountant. That's the first step in the process. We did meet with them on January 21st and went through this with them, make sure they're on board with where we are. As you can see, we are still projected to come in within our total appropriated figure, so we are still trending very well with that. There are no major surprises. We continue to monitor, again, the big items are, we monitor our staffing, we assess, we're watching the substitutes, anytime there are requests for any type of additional staffing, we go through, make sure we have the funds, we're reviewing all of our grants and other items to make sure that everything is being spent down appropriately. What we do have on this one is, again, we do want to keep the committee updated each time we receive information. So periodically throughout the year, we may receive notifications from some of the schools in which we have students placed. There are some that can go through what's called a reconstruction, where they can request additional budgetary increases. We did get a notice in January from one of our schools that actually the increase was retroactive to December. So we do, that is one of, where we say one of the risks with special education is those happen when they happen. Oftentimes we will receive a little bit of advance notification that they're putting in for it and that there'll be a hearing, but we don't know until it's approved. And as was the case this time, they can make it slightly retroactive. So
If they never come in and ask if it'd be all right to reduce the amount.
I've yet to see that. I'm waiting. I wouldn't hold my breath on that one, but maybe.
So they're requesting right now, or it happened?
It happened.
Okay.
So they requested it, it happened, they approved it in December, we got notified in January.
Who's the
Shouldn't they
they
u-
approve? Who's the they that approves it?
The Operational
Operational Service.
Services Division.
Shouldn't they usually just do that once a year? Isn't it unusual to do it mid-year?
It's not unusual, but they
unusual.
should do it once a year.
Yes.
So we're all in agreement?
Yes.
Unfortunately, we don't have the power to enforce our
And each
agreement.
school can have a different hearing date and a different effective date, so it's not even that they hear them all at the same.
But I mean, they make, presumably, they have a plan for the student for the year.
Presumably.
In the middle of the
Ed,
year.
you might be
some-
talking logic now.
Yes,
sorry?
I cannot speak on behalf
Oh,
of
you
the,
mean that my
Yeah.
tendency to think logically
Yes.
is in getting in the
and
way
we
of my
cannot
ability to
speak on
understand what's
behalf of
going on?
the
You're
individual.
probably right.
But Gail, when I got that, when I got this as the liaison, I asked about that, and you said
It
you
isn't,
had
we
built
do
in.
have it reflected in
Right.
our figures.
It's reflected in here, and kudos, because you had like some contingency space in
Yes.
here for things like that, that was
And
pre-planned.
The
Right.
reason we do put items like this in here is, I will say, if we think about the timing of when we received notification in January, our FY27 budget is, you already have it.
Right.
So this is not reflected in the FY27 budget because we did not have the information. So that's why we always make sure we have contingency plans, having the circuit breaker in reserve. So these are items that we do our best to plan for, but when they happen, we pivot and react and address it as necessary.
16%?
Again, I'm the messenger.
I'm not mad at you.
So I feel it's important that we do point those items out, because when
Thank
you
you.
ask what keeps you up at night, where are your risks? These are the areas that,
Yes.
beyond our control, but we want to make sure we're communicating them.
It's
Yes,
just how
it's-
often these things happen, so we need to consider them for, just build,
Well,
consider for next year.
Yes, and we do build a little bit
Yeah.
of, we have an estimate of what we think the rates are going to increase. We buffer it, we try to,
and usually, I mean, not to, this is, but usually,
You don't have to get too close.
usually, we get the notification that they are soliciting an increase, like for this spring, we'll get it for next school year. Once in a while, I mean, maybe not even once a year does something like this happen, but it does happen.
And how much, when this one said it was 16% change, how much actual dollars was that?
For ours, it was, I want to say the impact, I actually brought it with me, for the rest of the year was about $12,000 impact for the remainder of the current year. So again, it really depends how many students, what program you have them placed in. So if you had a large number of students
In that
placed
particular
here, it would
program,
be a
yeah.
larger
Yeah.
impact. So it's really case by case.
Yeah, and if we're appropriately placing kids where they need to be, then it's an expense we happily.
Yes.
We
So we just,
roll our eyes at, but we happily pay because it's what they need.
yes,
but-
practicing the poker face, no rolling of the eyes.
Sorry.
So we just felt it was important as we're going through to point these items out, just making sure we're being as open and transparent as things fluctuate. The other item that we did put in here that we had mentioned last time is we did have our circuit breaker audit that occurred, and we had mentioned that we were receiving a reduction on it, so we are reflecting the numbers here. So our total reimbursed amount has decreased by $167,528 based upon the various findings that they have. So we did reflect what the new dollar amount is.
Does this mean we actually spent last year,
Re,
167,000, whatever, a certain amount less?
higher than that,
Than they
because that's the
originally thought we
reimbursable
did,
amount,
yeah.
yep.
Does that impact our carryover for next year and for budget stuff at all?
It impacts our carryover, but we had been being conservative in what we were, so we still are comfortable with the amount that we will be carrying
Thank you.
over. So one of the items that we have talked about is, at the beginning of the year, we had actually already, prior to the audit happening, had built additional controls and processes in place that we feel would have caught these had we been doing them in previous years. So with a couple of new folks on board, we brought with us some of the items we had been doing in previous roles. So we're very confident that going forward, we have a much tighter process. And the way that this works is they reduce your future payments. So Q3 and Q4, the amounts we had not received yet would be reduced by this amount. So we don't have to give money back. They just reduce the amount going forward. So we did reflect that on here. And the other item that I attached is an updated grant summary, because we did say we would present this as needed. So last school committee, you did approve the deeper learning implementation. I feel like that's a mouthful to say. Grant, so that is reflected, and we also put the new revised circuit breaker number so that we have a revised total. So that was one of the commitments we made, was to provide this on an ongoing basis.
I'm smiling because my sources and uses, the dream has come true.
See, it didn't take us that long. We got there.
I think thank you.
You're welcome.
I think what's so great is the clarity of communication is amazing. It's evident that you have the process and the mechanisms in place to make sure that money is being monitored appropriately and carefully. Thank you so much for that. And personally, I really like how the little change in the circuit breaker thing was put in blue for me. So in going through, it helps me identify where I need to look on the chart. So thank you for that one and for all the hard work you and your team are doing.
Well, and the yellow on the,
Yes.
on this page. But
I'm the same. It's where do you need to draw
Like,
your
I-
eye
Right.
to?
draw your eyes to.
Because they all look, a chart looks like a chart after a while. So
No, I just want to emphasize how appreciative I am, and I think, I don't want to speak for Ed, but I think he would feel the same, that you've done this and that that we're getting consistent reports on the most risky parts of the budget. We can see what changes. That's exactly what we wanted, so thank you.
When I went through it, it read very well. It was easy to follow what you had done, so thanks.
And there are no budget transfers being requested
That's it.
at this time either, so.
thank you so much, Ms. Down, and Superintendent. Any other comments, questions for them? Awesome. Moving on to community chat update.
Do you need a motion?
Nope.
Weren't we going to approve the budget tonight?
That's a different,
That
that's
one's
next
coming up.
year's budget.
This is-
this year's budget.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
We'll do
of
that
course.
later. That's our climatic moment of the
But
night.
wait, there's more.
Community chat update. I'll go first, and then you can report on the one, or whoever had the other one. We were supposed to have one on Monday night. Snow prevented that from happening, so we officially canceled the in-person version, but I invited anyone who was going to go to contact me directly at email, and I would schedule a call with them, and I did not receive any emails, although I did get some other feedback from people about calendar and other stuff, so. It's okay, things happen. But, Mr. Brown,
All right,
you and Mr. Moskovich had a community chat.
We did. There were 5 people present. Yep.
Yep.
And one of them was a student, which was a treat. You know, his mom and a son. And the student had some insights that were really interesting to
Very
hear.
interesting.
Really
We'll
good.
share them.
I think the sentiment, if I could summarize it, at least from what I remember, was that, you know, appreciate the progress in communications. Somehow they still want more. And, you know, it was an interesting, like, discussion around that, because it's like, I said, well, we do that, right? But sometimes people just, for whatever reason, they don't have time, they rush, they don't read the nightly news, they don't look at the website, whatever it is. So, and again, this is a very small sample, 5 people, right? You know, some discussion around, and it's great for the community to have the ability to ask us a question and get an answer, at least from our individual perspective, right? As we don't represent the committee in those, we represent our own opinion, but we can at least have a two-way conversation, which I think people like. But I would say the other theme kind of was really, I guess, some concern about the future, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years from now. You know, and so do you want to add to that?
Three things I remember. One of the persons was wondering about what we're going to do with all the space we have when we get the new Kittredge building. And he had this thought that, well, we send all these children out of the district for special education, and wouldn't it save a lot of money if we could put them in all this new space we're going to have? And I explained to him that I want to use economies to scale, but you have children whose needs are very specific, and it's just it's not efficient to have only one student. You need 3 or 4 or 5 students to justify the staff. However, that reminded me of something which is kind of interesting. The Crest Collaborative occasionally rents space from districts. So, although I don't think, like, if we have one student with a particular issue who we have to send out of district, it's not going to do us any good to put him in one of our buildings. However, if we were to rent space to a collaborative, you would know about the SEAM, but to Crest, then there would be special needs students from members of the collaborative, from member districts, housed in our school, not at our expense, which would save those children, and to the extent that some of those were ours, we wouldn't have to bus them. So that seemed to me like it might be worth considering.
So North Andover has entertained that in the past. I can't speak for the time that since I've been back, but when I was here before, when I was at Franklin School had a Crest, or I think it was Crest Collaborative, couple classrooms that were just what you said. And I know that Ms. O'Neill's first year here, she did approach all of our building leaders to see if anyone had space with the thought of trying to do just what you said with one of the collaboratives. At the time, we didn't, but certainly as a new school opens, and depending on what our enrollment looks like, that could very definitely be a possibility for us.
Yeah. So the second idea was from a woman a resident of the town, whose job is to work with special education in a neighboring district. I don't remember which one.
Danvers, I think it was.
Yes,
Yeah,
Danvers. So they're bringing in then some outside consulting firm, which is helping them to regularize the way they do certain things. And she said the results are very exciting. This is not bringing in teachers. It's figuring out specific parts of the special education process and having outside experts come help with it. We
So-
could give you the reference to the firm, actually.
So I know the firm. It
Oh,
was
you
a
know who it
special
is?
education program review. It was done by Seaside Consultants. Cindy Tamor and Patrick Barberi came in and reviewed all the programs, gave specific recommendations, really tailored towards the early childhood education sort of format and setup, as well as some other pieces throughout the district. So
Is
I was
that-
in
Is that
Danvers.
similar
Oh,
to
so you're
when
familiar
our
with-
PR,
yeah,
is that similar to our
exactly.
review that we did with the
That
Urban Collaborative?
was their version of the Urban Collaborative.
So the third one, I asked the student that David referred to as an 8th grader, and I said, "How is school?" And he said, "Well," he said, and I can't remember the exact words, but the idea was he isn't getting challenged very much. And then David said, what percentage of your classmates do you think are in that same situation? He said about a quarter. And then I asked, well, is it mostly whole group or small group? And he said it's all whole group. So it's an interesting problem. I remember once when I was telling my former boss about what I was doing, and I mentioned that one of the advantages of small group instruction is that some students who are ahead are bored, and he said, "That's me." So I was kind of reminded of this story.
Thank you for passing that along.
But it was very constructive. Nobody was angry. It was very relaxed.
Yep,
Very
absolutely.
back and forth.
Great.
And it was, I couldn't hear what you said, Lynn. Rebus, R-I-B-A-S? So the email I got from the woman we're talking about, she forwarded it from the, so they had a special ed audit like we did, but they didn't use Urban Collaborative.
That's the one from Danvers?
Yeah, I think it's Danvers.
I thought it was Seaside Consultants, but
says
it might be
we
Rebus.
retained Rebus, R-I-B-A-S Associates.
It might have been Rebus, yep.
I
We
had
use
the
Seaside
feeling that
Consultants
this
in
was
Wakefield.
more technical stuff.
Rebus
Like,
has been a,
how do
Rebus-
we do an
we've used
IEP?
Rebus in North Andover
Sorry?
before. We've used Rebus in North Andover before. I mean, again, not in my 3 years that I've been here, but prior to, and I used Rebus for certain things in Andover. Rebus is a very well-known and has a lot of, that's their whole business, in every business. I mean, they do everything from teacher evaluation to special education, programming to.
And that might have been a result of a recommendation that was made from the original program review that was after I was there.
Oh,
So-
okay, yeah. Yeah, no, she was just very positive about it, right, enthusiastic. She realizes we did ours here, but
Yep.
just offering another alternative, another food for thought kind of thing. And I think I think it's appropriate if I can forward this info to you, so you guys can have a look at it and see what you think.
That'd be great.
But that's the purpose of the community chat, right, is to
That's right.
solicit things like that, so it served a good purpose. Yeah.
Mr. Brown, just one question about one of your first comments was that there was someone there that was talking about wanting us to have a more long-range view of things, right? You know, the 1, 2, 3 years, like, and you're kind of like, oh, we're doing that, we have that, and they talked about communication. Did they have any suggestions on different ways we should communicate that out? Because I know we get public comment, we get different feedback on why don't we have a 1 to 2, 3 year plan? And we've been talking, in the school committee meetings, which are long for people to watch all the time,
Right.
but we talk in their emails and nightly news, we're talking about those things, but it's still not always connecting with people. So I'm just wondering if there was another communication suggestion on what's another way we can get out there that, yes, that's extremely important and we're working on it. How do we?
So this is really funny because what they said was backpacks, which, I mean.
Papers and backpacks.
Yeah, I know, it's Back to the Future, but that's what they said.
Papers and backpacks do work in lots of ways.
Yeah.
It's extremely expensive.
Right.
When you start papers and backpacks, it's extremely expensive. So it's, you have to weigh that option. And,
Sure.
I know lots of times even, schools will make those choices. PTOs sometimes will make those choices. I think there's probably a time and a place for it.
Right.
And maybe as I reflect on, maybe that, in some instances when it's a very high pressure point item, it could make sense for us to put something in a
Yeah.
backpack. But
Maybe, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, it's just like opinions, everybody has one, right?
Yeah, just what other way, just in case anyone had an idea, right? Because it's these things, and we're talking about it, and it's out there in a lot of ways, but not apparently in the ways that everybody needs. So just kind of think, how else can we say it?
Right,
Okay.
well,
All right, that was it.
the 1, 2, 3-year thing was interesting too, because that particular person was not aware that we had the strategic planning
so
process going. And I said, well, we're in the middle of the strategic planning process. I happen to be serving on that subcommittee. Had yet they knew we were having a community chat, and they
right?
showed up. So I don't know. I guess the good news in it is even the people there had noticed
Yeah.
a change and that it was improving.
Yeah.
So I didn't take it as a bad thing.
Yeah.
I sort of took it as an interesting data point.
I think it's just sort of the way the world is now. I mean, none of us, it's hard to have time to sit down and read a lengthy email. And the
Sure.
reality is a lot of our communication comes through email. We are looking at systems of whether or not we can get an app, do something that gives an opportunity for text messaging, where text message you get a little bit more quickly, you see it on your phone, you see it on your wrist, it comes across in your car sometimes, giving some opportunity to let people know. And but we'll just, continue. I think I found my niche this weekend with Facebook and some of my generated
You were shoveling all over town.
animations.
You mean that was AI?
Perhaps. Not the one digging out the fire hydrant, I really did do that.
Good.
But, we'll continue to work on it.
No, I think it's fine. It's just, like I said, informational, and
Yep.
everybody has an opinion. But it was positive, it was very positive.
Thank you.
Alrighty, so school committee meetings, we've updated and I've included it for the or Michelle's included it in our packets of what's coming up in terms of presentations. In looking at the schedule, other than a budget update for February 12th, there was nothing pressing that needs to be done on that day. So the superintendent approached me and proposed that we actually cancel that next meeting. I am in agreement. So we will not have a public meeting on February 12th. I am asking that the members keep it available for the potential of an executive session that night, in case there's something we need to do, but we will let you know before that Monday or Tuesday beforehand, if that is necessary or not, because we would have to post that.
can all celebrate Abraham Lincoln's birthday.
Yes.
But
Real
if you
birthday.
grow up in Illinois, you know what day he was born.
Yes, but and then the reason why, the things that we then need to do in terms of mid-year data review that we put on there after your request, Mr. Moskovich, and then the other budget updates and user fees and all that, it's all been planned out. There's nothing that we could actually do on the 12th that seems like a worthwhile use of our time and to have a meeting for very little stuff. Nothing could really be moved up into that spot. So we will.
I don't hear anybody objecting.
I just want to explain why. Our next meeting will then therefore be on Thursday, February 26th, at the school administrative office. And Ms. Cormier, when's our town meeting?
May 12th.
Get your babysitters. I was just reading that on the back, so I wanted to
Do you
say.
guys do this
school
like
commi-
every week, every
Yes.
time you get together,
May 12th.
just to practice it?
Yep.
It's also my brother's birthday, so it's easy for me to.
Oh.
School committee members, you'll see that then we updated the budget updates so that because we're skipping a day,
Yeah.
we just moved the budget updates.
To the second
yeah.
meeting. All right. Next, school closings. We had 2 of those this week, 24 or so, that's what I had at my house. Inches of snow is not a small amount of snow to have to get rid of, coupled with really cold temperatures and not much natural melt made it very difficult for the DPW and everyone to get things ready and safe for people. So we had to unfortunately cancel the second day too, but that's what happens when we live here in New England. Thank you for making those calls appropriately, Superintendent Lathrop. Personally, I know other districts might have made calls a lot earlier, but I appreciated the timing. I think by noon on Sunday was an appropriate time to inform everybody that we were having no school the next day. It's better than the 8 o'clock at night and or the 5:30 on Monday morning. I think that was a great amount of time to have. So thank you. I know sometimes it gets out there on the news because you call and you do that and you schedule a robocall and you don't always have complete control over what spot gets posted first, but it was all within an hour or so of each other, so I think that was fine too. I think one of the things we get used to in this day and age is we at times have instant access to information about a lot of things, and then when we don't, we can sometimes get frustrated. But we make the appropriate call when we have all the information we need. So I think in this case that happened. And we knew Monday night about Tuesday at an appropriate time too. Be careful still out there. There was a lot of snow, and there's no place else to put it. So like, yes, we did lose some parking spots along the way in some of our school building facilities, and just please continue to be careful as we pull out of school buildings with the high snowbanks. Main Street, that mound in front of the middle school is a very large mound
It's
coming
very
down
large.
there, but
It's really, I would just
It's-
echo that. Please be careful to everyone driving, just trying to pull out. We still have some mounds at the high school, the middle school, but just in your daily travels through North Andover, pulling out of anywhere can be a little
my
bit tricky.
road is a narrow road at that. It's only a lane and a half, and now it's only one lane, and people use it to go pick up kids at the middle school, so just gotta be really careful, because it's a lot of snow. So thank you.
And North Andover is a very hilly town. If you didn't know that about North Andover, it's filled with hills, which makes it very challenging for our buses. So just a little bit of patience. And then just, since you're on this topic, it is supposed to get very cold. I mean, it is very cold outside right now, but the wind chill is dropping, and the temperatures are dropping, or the wind chill's going, I don't know, one of the way. But the temperatures are dropping, so please be mindful of that, families, mindful of the time your students are outside. Students, please dress appropriately. When your parents tell you to put a coat on, please put a coat on, just because you're going to be outside. We did put that, and if you look at the last edition of Nightly News, the January Nightly News, there's a lovely section in there that talks about ways that you can keep your children warm and safe during cold temperatures. So maybe revisit that in terms
I
as
want to
well.
add something to that because it's a memory of mine. You never know when there could be a fire drill, and you never know when you could have a real emergency.
Yep.
So these kids that are coming to school in shorts in
Middle school,
January.
you mean all of middle school?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
You know, and I remember my son telling me, "Oh, Dad, it's so hot in the school." I mean, I'm like, "Yeah." So you have to fight the good fight and get them to keep their coats handy. So if they do have to exit the building, they're not standing there in a t-shirt and shorts. I'm sorry, I just had to
No,
put
I
that.
appreciate it. When I taught in Connecticut, we had, unlike in Massachusetts, we have to do 4 fire drills a year. In Connecticut, you have to do 1 per month. So you knew on even the least, if you had not so bad of a cold day in January, you were going to be outside for at least a couple minutes, and you were just ready for it.
I will say, I just want to be clear that our fire department would not
Yes.
do a planned fire
No.
drill on a day that is this
No.
cold. But if perchance the fire alarm goes off and we don't know why it goes off, then
You gotta do it.
of course we have to evacuate the building.
It can
happen.
And so you have to be prepared for that.
So the official policy, it's in our policy manual, EBCD, superintendent makes the call. 4 factors that she considers: weather conditions, both existing and predicted, driving, traffic, and parking conditions affecting public and private transportation facilities, actual occurrence or imminent possibility of any emergency condition that would make the operation of schools difficult or dangerous, and inability of teaching personnel to report for duty, which might result in inadequate supervision of students. Superintendent, can you remind us the different channels where people would hear about closings? Not necessarily in any particular order, which would be first, but they could look on, we do it on our Facebook.
We put it on our Facebook, you'll get an email, you get a phone message, it's on Channel 7, Channel 4, I think it's on Channel 5, it's on all the major news channels here in North
And
Andover.
sometimes one of those will get published before the others. It's okay.
Sometimes it does, and so, just,
It's okay.
Mr., Chairman Hicks just already explained it, but just so everybody understands, I'm in communication with all the other area superintendents. We're in communication with our director of the DPW, Department of Works, our Todd Workman, who is our director of maintenance here, Greg Landry, who's director of operations. We all have conference calls, the chief of police, the chief of fire, the town manager, all weigh in as well, trying to make the best decision for our students and giving everybody ample time. And it's always easy when you think about yourself, like, oh, if they had a 2-hour delay, then, I remember when I was an elementary principal, we wouldn't start till 11 and that's fine. But you have to remember, if we have a 2-hour delay, you still have young drivers that are on the road at like 7 or 8 in the morning, and that's not okay for them. So that's why those sometimes things like a 2-hour delay wouldn't work for those people. But, we're in communication with them, trying to make, the right call. And I want families to know, and I said this the day of the ice storm, if you don't think it's safe to send your child to school, please don't send your child to school. Your child won't be penalized if you don't send them to school because you feel it's unsafe to send them to school. Let us know, and we certainly will, make that an excused absence.
Thank you. Mr. Brown, Kittredge Elementary School Building
Yes.
Committee update.
Yes, so we have not had a meeting since our last school committee meeting. However, we did get an update from the owner project manager. So I'd like to read that to everybody because there's good stuff in it. But I need my glasses. Okay. We submitted our schematic design on December 18th. And since that submission, here's what's happened. There's been coordination between our project team and the Mass School Building Association, MSBA. Typical questions that the MSBA asks at this point in the process regarding those questions. Their response to the submitted total budget is a draft because they won't confirm their response until their February 25th meeting, as I've said before. The total project budget is showing a funding ratio 36 to 37% MSBA, 63 to 64% North Andover
Is that
of
good?
total money spent.
Is that good? Is that what we want?
Yeah, that's right around where
That's
we-
what they.
Yeah,
Okay.
what we were predicting, or what our advisors predicted. MSBA's response was, that was what we submitted. Sorry, the 36, 37, 63, let's just call it, we'll use the 37, 63. It's 36 to 37, that's what we put in. They came back very close to that. They came back with 35 to 36 for Massachusetts, 64 to 65, so tiny bit lower than we were anticipating. And the discrepancy was of 1% was not a surprise. It's typical. Our project advisors tell us that's typical. There was also a separate, as part of that December 18th submission, there was a separate package for DESE, D-E-S-E, to review the special education program and design layout within the proposed floor plans. The DESE response requested that we slightly modify the ground floor layout of the special educational spaces so they're better distributed throughout the general classroom cluster and less sort of focused in one area. Our architect and the owner project manager don't feel that this is a super challenge or detriment, and it'll be made in coordination with us, with the district and our building committee. And that's it.
Great.
Well,
So
wait a minute.
we were within 1%.
Here I am in suspense.
Yes.
Did they say yes or no?
Well, the yes or, that's the February 20th.
That is what they said, yes or no?
Yeah.
That's it?
No,
They don't make the decision yet.
The formal decision is in February,
Which date was in February?
February 25th.
Okay, so so we'll have, our next school committee meeting is the day after.
Right, so we'll know.
So,
The official approval.
so what is this?
This is so the way the
Their-
process works is you give them your schematic design. They do an informal review of it and quick commentary on it for you.
Yes.
And that's what I was just
It's
reading.
sort of
Do
like
they
a,
say things like, this is terrible, we're never going to approve it, this sounds pretty good, it looks okay, or nothing like that?
They, well, I can only infer because what this is all about is very specific adjustments.
Sounds
So
like
I would
they said-
think if it was, we hate it, we're not going to vote for it, they would have probably said that.
yeah, so when they gave us they shared with us the reimbursement rate, the slight discrepancy, so they're sort of saying that, might want to read through the lines, and then they came back because they have DESE rules that they have to follow too, so looking at the floor plan, so they've asked us to make some modifications to the floor plan that we have submitted before their final review, which that team is already meeting tomorrow to do that.
When I wrote the book I wrote about special education, I went to a school in Tacoma, Washington, where the deputy superintendent deliberately did what they asked you to do and wanted most of the special ed space to be near regular classrooms and not concentrated.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's consistent with what the Urban Collaborative was saying.
Yep.
Yeah.
All righty.
And since we talked about it a little bit, and we explained, our intention was not to clump them together. I think that the way it looked as if they were maybe not some on the second floor, but there are. But what we did do, based on some of the recommendation, was that we had like the OT, the PT, occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech rooms very close together, sort of with the sense that if a child is being like multiple treated, then they're walking quickly, and it was very easy to get to from the upstairs or the downstairs. I can't remember which way. So there was a purpose with
makes a lot of
students
sense.
in mind, but that said, we also can make some tweaks to it.
So in the instance I'm talking about, I don't think he would have objected to what you did. That had more to do with children that didn't have such specific needs.
All right, so on to continued business. Item number 1, we previously approved the robotic team to go to Colorado, and they were supposed to do a very fast trip. They were going to be first February 2nd, February 3rd. When they went to make their flight plans, they were unable to get the flight back on February 3rd, so they had to push their return date to February 4th. So we weren't sure, so they contacted Ms. Ando as they were supposed to, telling them this, and weren't sure what to do. And we thought the best action would be for us to approve the amended travel dates, because we officially approved it for the 2nd and 3rd, and they want to make sure that they're in compliance with what our directives are and that we're doing everything correctly. So they brought back to us to reapprove for the new travel dates based on the flights that they were able to get.
So moved.
Does that make sense? Did I say it all correctly, Ms. Ando? Anything to add?
Nope.
Mr. Bennett was very worried and wanted to make sure he did this correctly.
Yes, he wanted to do this correctly, absolutely.
Just a procedural question. Do we need to have a vote to suspend our
No, because
practice?
this is technically a third read.
Oh, right.
We're good.
We're good. Yep, you're right.
That's at least my determination.
I like it.
So,
So,
Mr. Moskovich, you moved.
and I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Any further discussion? Thank you, Ms. Ando and Mr. Bennett, for being so conscientious and keeping us informed.
You do need to take a vote.
Yes.
Yes, I feel like if this is not part of our regular policy for travel, we should look at that and.
Yes, I think the policy liaisons, you and
Yes,
Ms.
that's something we had a
Koenig,
question
Sam
about.
should look at that, and perhaps put in some kind of clause, if you're comfortable saying that if it's something like this, if a change comes, maybe the discretion of the superintendent.
And you
I'm
you
sure
can
she
approve
would
it and you
make
can inform us.
At least as good a decision as we're going to make.
She would try.
If not better.
So,
Vote?
Mr. Moskovich.
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Mrs. Cormier. And I vote yes.
You know, so the poor kids now, instead of a red eye, they have to get up at 3 in the morning.
Yes, exactly.
Instead of being back at 5 in the morning,
I'm
they have to
not
get on the
sure-
flight at 5 in the morning.
I think that's almost worse,
is.
honestly.
Oh, it did say at 5 a.m. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
'Cause you don't get up at 5 a.m.
No, you
No.
you get up at 3.
Right.
And yeah, and
Should we
Denver is a.
allow them to come back at a civilized hour
No,
and
this
tell them
is
we don't
fine.
really care when on the new day? They,
I think that's probably all
I
right.
like the information. Next, we have our calendar. Superintendent?
Yep, just a reminder, we presented the calendar at our last meeting. You have two calendars to consider. One would bring our students back to school on September 2nd. That would be the first day of school for students. That's pre-Labor Day. And the second calendar would bring our students back to school, our students in grades 1 through 12, I'm talking about. And the second calendar would bring our students back to school on September 8th, which is post-Labor Day. On the first one, maybe I should have just stuck with one, but on the first one, when they come back on September 2nd, the last day of school would be June 17th. That's considering if there were no snow days. If we had snow days, it would be June 24th. On the one after Labor Day, if they start on the 8th, then school would end on June 21st if we had no snow days. But if we used 5 days, it would end on the 28th. The other change in this calendar is typically we've had the full day, no school on the Friday before MLK Junior Day. We're proposing to change it to the Tuesday after MLK Junior Day because that gives us 2 full weeks of school in the month of January. If we have a day off on the 15th, we won't have, we won't have a chunk of learning time that's not interrupted like that. And I think those are the only major things to consider.
I did have one person ask a question. They suggested or wanted to know why would it be better to have that day, instead of having it in January, it would be better to have that day perhaps in March. With that, my immediate reaction in terms of scheduling perhaps, but then I was thinking about any professional development that you want to do, then lost 2 months for implementing that as well, so.
It gets a little tricky, and I think, in consideration to some families, if they wanted to have a little bit of an extended weekend, that is why we tried to attach it to something like that, and then keeping in mind, but we certainly can consider that.
Yep. And then the other, overwhelmingly, the emails I got were about everyone feeling most comfortable with before Labor Day. I did get one or two asking for the consistent only ever start after Labor Day.
Right, but the reason for that was compelling, which is it's easy to get daycare in June and very hard.
That's for before, yeah.
So it has nothing to do with wanting to mess people's Labor Day weekends up. It has to
No.
do with respecting the need of getting
Yeah.
help for
There was
taking care
one
of your
person that
kids.
just felt that in terms of like starting and then having 4 days off isn't necessarily good for all kids, and just
No,
starting right afterwards
I
would be
get
better.
that,
So,
but the,
I'm just
all else
reporting what,
equal.
yeah.
What is the blue on the first calendar on the 2nd of September?
That's the
That
first
would
day
be
of
the
school.
first day of school.
Oh,
And just as a reminder, someone asked in the past, why wouldn't we start on the first? It's because of the collective bargaining agreement that we have that says in the teacher's contract, the CBA says that school will not start for students prior to the first Wednesday before Labor Day.
And for teachers, the first day's report, the day that they report is, can be no earlier than the Monday before Labor Day as well, except for new teachers who can start the previous Friday.
so then, but
By contract, we have to do this.
Friday is school, they're
That's
off-
also in the contract.
It's also in the contract that we won't
Oh.
have school on the Friday before the contract.
That was, so,
Friday before the.
I mean, Saturday before Labor Day.
yeah, so about 5,
Oh.
maybe 6 years ago, we traditionally used to start after Labor Day.
Right.
And then to change that, in terms of negotiations, it was.
One of the gives was to
One of the
give it a
gives was that we
4-day
had that
weekend.
Friday off.
Yeah.
So that applies to any holiday?
No, just the one
No,
before
just
Labor
the
Day.
one before Labor Day.
So that's the history there. So it does exist for a reason.
And then just
But
as a
not one that,
reminder,
does that reason have an explanation, or?
That to move from a post-Labor Day start always, which was the previous
Yes,
rules,
right.
the union agreed to do that as long as Friday would remain off.
Oh,
That's what.
I get it, okay,
results of the
thank you.
negotiation.
and as a reminder, Juliet Delmar, the president of North Andover Teachers Association, gave a survey to all of her members, and I think it was 92% to 8% or something along that, wanting to start before school, before Labor Day.
The teachers did?
Yep.
Yes, all of the folks in
Isn't
NATA,
that
so
interesting?
teachers, teaching assistants.
The
If we
same
started
reason?
after Labor Day, it was 11-week summer. As one of the parents mapping out summer camps, it would have become 11 weeks of summer, and that's very expensive and hard to find. So maybe that was what could have been why, for some people, like the pre-Labor Day.
Well,
saves money.
apparently, there's no programs available in
Very
the
few.
week before Labor Day.
There's very few. Yeah, mhm.
So that's helps explain
Do you have one question, Superintendent Lathrop, on
Yes.
Juneteenth?
Yes.
I know Juneteenth is a Saturday
Correct.
in 2027. Federal government's observing it on the 18th. I know Massachusetts state is not.
Correct.
I
So we
guess
now.
I just feel like, given the times, not observing that holiday in our calendar, not observing it on the 18th, just, I would like to consider observing that. Let me put it that way.
It is being observed in Massachusetts on the 19th.
Yeah, absolutely. Federal
But we-
government's observing it on the 18th.
Right.
And what it does for originally in the first calendar that we started, we had it as a day off, not observe the
Observe it
day
on
we
the
were
18th.
on the 18th. But the contracts allow for those folks that have that as a holiday to take it as a floating holiday. So I understand what you're saying. It's different from that, but
Well,
Contractually, we are not obligated to do it, but some of us might still feel the need
The
that it's
right,
an
yeah,
important
it's
thing to do.
it's a good thing to do.
well, this issue might have been moot, but for what just happened earlier this week, is that right? I mean, school's would have closed on the 17th had there been no snow days, if I'm looking at the
well, this
calendar
is
correctly.
This is
next
next
year's, but
Yes.
Oh, I see, you're right, next
Right.
year, okay. Sorry.
And it's a weird anomaly, because or 2 out of every 7 years or something like that, this would happen, right? Where it's on a weekend.
Is that the only other holiday that we have, like, that we, I mean, that we would observe that?
Memorial Day,
It's
we
not-
run into that, not Memorial Day, sorry.
'cause-
Veterans? Or-
Veterans Day, we ran into that problem last year.
And what did we do?
We
we have
observed it
Veterans
on the 10th, on the Friday as well.
So we did observe it.
We did, as did the rest of the town. The town offices were supposed to. So, as chair, can I make a motion, or?
Yeah, you can always make a motion. But
Why don't you ask yourself for your own permission?
Do I have permission? I don't know if that,
And then you
I
can
usually
report
never
to us
do, so
about
that's
the-
why.
Are you
yeah,
making
it's
a
fine.
motion
I
to
mean,
change the calendar?
well, so this is our second read, right? On the.
Yeah, but I'd like to make a decision tonight.
Yeah, so, I guess, Mr. Chair, I'll move that we adopt the pre-Labor Day start that we have here.
Second.
Discussion.
I agree with the pre-Labor Day start. That's overwhelmingly the
Yes.
feedback that I'd gotten. And actually, I got more information more feedback on the calendar than I have on anything else this year. I maybe got 1 or 2 emails about the budget. It was all about the calendar. So that's certainly something that people are invested and interested in.
I am in support of the pre-Labor Day start. I'd like to amend and have the 18th designated as the observed holiday, and that would make the 25th the projected 185th day, or the 5th snow day.
So I guess I made a motion. Do we-
So that would be an
a
amendment.
friendly amendment?
I am making an amendment.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Well, now, that's an interesting piece of parliamentary procedure, is whether you're allowed to do what you guys just do. I mean, people tend to do that, say, well, if the person who makes the motion agrees to it, then there doesn't have to be a vote. I'm not sure that that's what
Oh, no,
Robert's
we'll vote on the amendment.
So the amendment is?
Well, what did I even have a second?
Well,
I
in terms of
second that.
procedure,
Oh, did he?
the motion on the table is the calendar is printed.
Right.
During discussion, I am proposing an amendment to change the calendar on the table to have the 18th as the day off and the 25th that be designated as the last day of school with 5 snow days. It would then need to be seconded, if everyone would choose. We would then discuss it, and then we would vote on the amendment only, and then return to further discussion on the
Yes.
original motion.
Yes,
Okay.
that's exactly. So what that would mean is that if there were no snow days, it wouldn't matter what we did.
Correct.
And if there was even one snow day, then the final day of school would be on the 21st.
Correct.
I think Superintendent Lathrop, if we did that, they had the 18th observed, is there any negative impact that you see? I know you made this decision, and you can, I know you
The
considered
negative
all of the
impact is that
things.
you're asking students to come back to school for one day, and typically if a family is going to pay for camp, they have paid for camp for the whole week, so they're not going to send their students to school on the 21st.
There'll be no camp that week.
There's no-
Vacations, yes, but.
You'll be
Well,
I don't know, wait for-
if they start, so that's the impact. If it's only a one-day snow day, right, if you only have one day, typically, many families wouldn't come back for one day. Although I think, did we have 1 or 2 days last year? I don't remember, but that could be your impact.
So you think that if there were 2 school days, it'd be, 2 snow days, it'd be all right?
Yeah, I mean, you're still.
Even if you didn't do that, there's
Yeah.
a certain number of snow days that's going to give you a Monday only, right?
Yeah, you're going to you're moving it to the 5 days to the week, so that means that's the benefit to that is that if a family is starting camp or needing to, it's hard to find camp on one day, so they have a full week of school if they use the 5 days. I think it's what you decide. I don't, there's risks either, there's benefits and pros and cons either
we could have a very
way.
mild winter and nothing.
I'm
Right.
going to ask my ever popular question, is there a financial impact?
No.
Okay.
Because everyone pay, it's 100, for teachers,
She's
it's the
looking at
180th day,
Gail,
right?
Right?
So-
Addition, I don't have all the contracts
I
in
don't
front of me,
think
but
so.
if they're paid for a certain number of days and that's not a work day, you're not paying for buses, you're not paying for.
We didn't pay them for this past Monday and Tuesday. We're going to pay them for
Right.
the 2 days
I
that
would
we're adding
not-
on to the end
Oh,
of the
yeah.
year.
anticipate
And the
that it would be.
18th, they'd have, if that is a vacation day a holiday that they, in their contract, the way it's written now, if we didn't take the 18th off, they would take it as a floating holiday and they could take it at another time.
Okay, so they would just have another floating holiday that they could
Ah,
take.
so it isn't about how many days the teachers get.
Some of our contracts.
It's some of
for-
our contracts, not, would
Right.
have
So
that.
the issue really boils down to what the holiday stands for and whether we think it's important.
Correct.
It's not actually going to change what happens in school. It's a mark of respect, is I think what
Yeah.
you're getting at, right?
That's what
Yeah.
we are getting at. I
Yeah.
said, well, I'm getting
Yeah.
at. I think
No,
you
no,
are too.
that's what I'm.
Did
yeah.
someone second the amendment?
No. we
I have
have
not, but now I will second the
Okay.
amendment.
So we have, the amendment was to make the 18th designated as a day off in line with federal holiday rules. I made the amendment, Mrs. Cormier has seconded it. Any further discussion on the amendment? Okay. We'll vote on the amendment and the amendment only. Mr. Moskovich?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Cormier?
Yes.
I vote yes. So then,
Back to the
sorry,
result.
Mrs. Lathrop?
Oh, sorry. I worked 12 months, and I think that we're all okay with it, and it is
the
it is
18th
a holiday that deserves to be celebrated, so.
And I understand, contractually, we're not obligated to do it, but we can make a different decision too. So the 18th will be designated as the recognition of Juneteenth, meaning that the 25th on calendar one would be the fifth potential snow day for the 185th day of the school year, per those rules. Any further discussion on the calendar
Well,
as
but point
proposed?
of
Yep.
order, I guess.
Procedure.
Procedure.
Point of order.
I don't think I ever got a second to that motion, did I?
To your motion?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
Ed did.
Oh, Ed did, okay, that's what I missed, okay, got it,
Point of
thank
order
you.
would be appropriate.
Point of
Yes.
order, thank you.
So we are back to discussion on the original proposed and now amended calendar pre-Labor Day start. Any further discussion? Moving on to a vote. Mr. Moskovich?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Cormier?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. 4-0. We will start, students will start on Wednesday, September 2nd. That means teachers will report on Monday, August 31st, and new teacher orientation or first day will be the previous Friday, the 30th, 29th, the 28th.
And students, that's just for grades 1 through 12.
Yes.
Kindergarten's is different.
Kindergarten's different
And
because
preschool's different.
they don't need the 180 days.
And Superintendent Lathrop, thank you very much for, I know, the thoughtful time and action that you put into that, and I just want to be clear, I did not mean to in any way,
None
shape,
taken. I
or
think
form
it's-
to infer, just I want,
Yeah.
I know that the thought and care
Yeah.
that you put into this and the attention that you pay to all of our students'
We
needs,
had
so.
originally had it brought to our attention, and we adjusted it based on that. And then I also want to thank Carol Arkham, who's one of our curriculum directors, who is so wonderful at getting all the squares colored in correctly and making sure we know where our early release days are and making sure that we're accounting for everything appropriately. She does a beautiful job with that.
Thank you.
And then- one more question. I know you had mentioned,
I keep
Chairman
turning it over.
Hicks, that we would even, that this was earlier than we typically
This
do
is
this.
earlier.
But you're even thinking about next year, potentially even doing it earlier. Do
So-
we know when, so those of us planning summer camps will know when to be looking for these things?
So, back in my day, summer camp registration wasn't until like,
January.
Well, in February, and it has moved back, and I understand therefore we need to make calendar decisions further in advance. I'm not sure. I think it's possible for us to do this maybe in December as we think to next year. So I think that would be something that the chair
year.
of next year's committee should work out with the superintendent in terms of planning out the calendar year. But we did, I don't remember if it's by our policy or by state law, we do officially have to do this before, you have to present the calendar before the end of January to do vote on in February. We have done the entire thing by the end of January this year. But the chair is always has that discretion to create the schedule for doing these decisions next year.
The sooner the
It
better.
really is
It
a
gives us
powerful
opportunity to
position.
plan professional development as
those
well.
things.
So when we know those dates, it's definitely, it's advantageous for all of us.
And I imagine next year Labor Day will likewise be late, so that's my prediction.
And on a Monday.
Probably. Moving on to budget.
Great. So my review is very similar to, it's exactly similar to what it was last time. I'm happy to go through it if you'd like me to. But I do want to point out one thing. So just as a reminder, I'll just be a very quick reminder that, let's see, where am I? Our budget this year is preserving all of our services that we currently have and all of our programs. It's maintaining class sizes with a slight reduction at our middle school. It's prioritizing special education programming and support. It's reducing crowding on our school buses and improving route efficiency. It is prioritizing early learning initiatives, and it is increasing school spending to support our district goals. Just as a review, our budget this year was $69.2 million. We received a 4.05% increase to which was an additional $2.8 million, which brought our FY27 budget to $72 million. Then we received an additional $200,000 allotment for curriculum, which would actually now increase our budget increase. I'll do that at some point so everybody knows exactly what it is. But our total increase from FY26 to FY27 was an increase of $3 million, or with a total budget of $72,200,000. Roughly $60 million of that goes to salaries, and $14 million of that goes to expenses for my recommended FY27 budget, which brings us to a total of $73,705,289, which is approximately $1.5 million over what was the budget allotment. What we're recommending in terms of staffing is 1 additional elementary teacher, 1 middle school teacher, 3 special education positions, 1 assistant principal, 3 teaching assistants, and increasing the daily substitute rate to $125. You will see an additional box. You don't have it, but it's up on the, is it not on yours? If you refresh, it might be there. Sorry.
That's okay.
Just in full transparency, I wanted to make sure that I highlighted this in the budget. It's not an FTE position, is why it didn't make it onto this staffing sheet originally. But we did put some additional funding in the FY27 budget to provide some library support staff to our elementary librarians. Our elementary libraries, we did reduce our librarians over the 4 elementary schools, and maintaining the shelving, doing all the work that a librarian needs to do and also as well as classing has proven to be very challenging. So there are some funds in our FY27 budget to provide library support staff, but it is not an FTE, it's not a full-time position. And then in terms of expenses, $175,000 for Chromebooks, contracting 1 extra general education bus, taking some funding, $100,000 for out-of-district tuition and $150,000 for out-of-district transportation that we typically use in the IDEA grant, being cautious that those fundings may not come in the way that we anticipate them, moving those funds into the general budget so that we can support those 2 initiatives, increasing athletics budget, and increasing pure pupil allocations in the school budgets. So as I said, that is a total budget of $73,705,289, which is about $1.5 million over. So we're proposing using $1.5 million of the anticipated $2.5 million in the FY27 budget from circuit breaker to bridge that gap. This would be a one-time. This is not adding to the base. It would leave $1 million in our circuit breaker reserves. So the superintendent's proposed budget is $72,200,000.
And these numbers are exactly the same as they were January 8th.
They're exactly the same. That library position does not change it, but it was in there and we hadn't highlighted it. So in transparency, I just wanted to let everybody know there is some money that was in there for that.
All right, so the chair will first entertain a motion.
I would like to move, Mr. Chair, that we accept the FY27 superintendent's recommended budget as shown in the packet with the offset as shown.
In the total amount of?
70, I'll use the final number, the 73 point.
No, the superintendent's recommended budget is
Is 72.2 is the superintendent's recommended budget. We'll handle our overage expense via the circuit breaker
Correct.
funds.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion.
Kelly can second if you want.
No, second.
Oh,
You already second. I just have a question. Wait.
Sure.
Oh,
No, we'll ask questions, I'll read her thing after.
okay. So question, I think it's slide 6
Okay.
on what you were just going through. So full support, the budget, just a question.
Mm-hmm.
On this slide 6, it breaks out the salaries and expenses going into would be the 73 million, which is above and beyond where we're covering that extra. My question is, are these the cost centers? Oh, you don't have quite the same slide 6, Kristen. I think we're working with 2 different decks.
Oh, you must have the old, go to this one.
It looks like that.
Okay. Yep, I will find it.
So my question is just more, are these the cost centers, as we talk about what the school committee, what we're tracking to, and would these be the cost centers that we're then tracking going forward in next
Where-
year's reporting that we'd look at?
About to dive in without asking? No, at this point, we wanted to give further clarity into what comprises the budget. We're still working through the high-level items that we would look for some of the transfers to be approved. I'm not sure at some of the smaller levels, those would be as big of a concern, so that's one area said, once we were done with the budget, we would get back together with the budget liaisons to fine-tune what degree to which we would want to look at some of the budget transfers. So that's still a work in process.
Okay, so the cost centers haven't been set yet, because that's what we
Right,
track.
and
That's
then
what
we have
we
to-
report
and-
on would be the cost
And then
centers.
by our, what do we call bylaws, not bylaws, policies. Sorry, by our policies, we need to approve those categories.
Yes.
But it made sense for, it made sense, I think, to us to, definitely to me, to allow this to finish.
And
And
then
then, in other words, just do the process the way Gail just described.
Okay, so that will come later, what the actual
This
cost
was
centers are.
really-
Okay, but that's.
This was to sort of address diving down deeper so that yourselves as well as the broader community understood the various components that
Makes perfect sense, thank you. It definitely achieved that results, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
We should just add to our calendar when we can expect to have, when we can
Vote on,
The cost
yeah.
center,
vote on the
the
cost
cost
centers,
centers. Yeah.
approve those.
Got it, thank you.
Thank you. If you, others don't mind, I'm just going to read the statement from Ms. Sams. She couldn't be here tonight, but she did sign this in her stead. I'm just going to read it verbatim. I'll send it to Michelle so it can appear in the minutes as well. So this is from Alyssa Sams. The past couple of years have been financially challenging for North Andover Public Schools. Upon accepting her temporary and later permanent position, Superintendent Lathrop was handed budgets that she had little to no say in. Last year was especially difficult, losing beloved faculty and staff. Going into this budget season, I knew I could not support a budget that would put our faculty, staff, and families through the repeated emotional turmoil they went through last year. I also knew that Superintendent Lathrop would do everything she could to present a budget in which that scenario would not play out. I was especially pleased that Superintendent Lathrop presented us with a proposed budget that did not stay within the confines we faced, but boldly stated that our students need and deserve more. Her proposed budget not only avoided cutting positions, but added needed student-facing positions and addressed some of our special education needs. We still have a ways to go to get our district to where we all want to see it be, and I am confident Superintendent Lathrop and her administration have lofty goals to get to that promising future. While we have what we need for fiscal year 27 through the proposed budget, fiscal year 28 will surely be another story in which we will need to stand together as a community. Thank you to Superintendent Lathrop and her administration for the careful, thoughtful, and strategic work put into the fiscal year 27 proposed budget, and I am happy to support it. I'll open it up to other members for their comments if they so desire.
We've been through this now a couple of times. I share much of those, I probably share all of those sentiments that you just read from Ms. Sams, Mrs. Sams. Yeah, I'm grateful for the great work that went into this. We all want to get as far as we can and be do the best we can for our kids, and this is the step in the right direction. It's practical, it makes sense, it puts us in a good position for next year when we know we're going to have to fight for more, and I applaud the work and thank you for it. All of you. And your
So-
teams.
So, yes, I too agree with the thrust of what she said. People have commented, lots of people, that they're disappointed that we aren't asking for an override this year. And part of me is disappointed as well, but as a practical matter, it just never was possible. I mean, if you think back a year ago, all the stuff that was on our plate, there was no way. You don't want to go ask for a major increase without thinking through what you really need, and there was just no way that a then new superintendent, however capable, would be able to do that as well as everything else. And so I think this is the best way, is to to wait until we have time to really think it through, so that when we do come out and say what we need, we can say what we need and why we need it and why it's important.
Thank you, Mr. Moskovich. Mrs. Cormier?
Very similar sentiments to all of my other fellow committee members. One, thank you, Superintendent Lathrop and your team for putting together the budget that we need now. And buckle up, we're going to have a lot of work to do next year as a town. And I do know as part of our tri-board chairs meetings that Chairman Hicks and I are part of, other boards, it was where we are working in the communication and collaboration as we move forward. So I think it's going to be a lot. Obviously, we all know it'll be a lot of work, but I think it's something as a town we can move forward with.
One quick thing, Mr. Chair, I want to observe too that now, by next year, we'll have at least 2 and probably close to 3 years of data that we can track and trust, which was not the case before. So that is big, right? Because when we go to ask for more, and we have a plan that we put together for over a year, close to a year and a half of work on it, and we'll have the data that we're gathering now to support it, that's a much, much better case to make.
Thank you, other members. Superintendent, one quick question. Back in October, early November, we created a list of budget directives for you and your team to follow. Would you say that you were able to meet those stated directives?
I would. They are on slide 3.
These were our goals, and this budget does those things.
They are it's fiscally responsible, it's a balanced budget, it aligns with the town's fiscal parameters, investigates opportunities for revenue and growth, we'll continue to look at user fees, there's accuracy here, there's efficiency, instructional quality, it aligns with our PD plan for high-quality instructional material, our school improvement plans, supports the needs of all of our learners with a focus on special education and literacy and equity, and safe and supported schools, looking at class size, facilities, and supervision. So yes, I would say this recommended budget does align with the budget priorities that you set.
Thank you.
Welcome.
One of the things that I very consciously made sure to state at that point, I hope I said it clearly, but I'll try to remember what I said, or hope to have said at least, is that I wanted a budget that met the needs of our kids, that did these actions, and didn't force us to simply follow the recommended amount from the town manager. I know she has her job to do, and she does a wonderful job, and she's responsible for a lot of things, but I wanted to know what the amount of money is that we need to run this district and make some key improvements. And I really am appreciative that you didn't stick to that original number of 72.2, but made it 72.2 and then 73.5, because that's what our kids need. So thank you very much for that, and for that willing to step out on that limb. And I'm happy to support the action that we're going to take, I hope we're going to take tonight. It does come with some risks that I want to make sure that we are all very clear about. I think they're worthwhile risks, but we have to be very clear with ourselves and with the community of what they are. We're asking the town to allocate to us in May $72,200,000. That would then be the number that we use next year for any type of increase. We are also planning and giving the superintendent and her team permission to carry over money that we're projecting to get and spend an additional $1.5 million. That means, with this budget, to add those positions, which are absolutely necessary that we should do. That means next year for an override, we are going to need to get at least that, right?
If we get only that $1.5 million, that it will prevent us from making cuts.
Yes.
So
We
if we
also
need
know-
more money, which I think all of us think we do, it has to be above and beyond the $1.5
We also
million.
know that the projections for next year, based on current growth and analysis from the town manager, which she's always conservative, which is good, like in terms of she's very straightforward and does very good calculations, but next year's projected increases are only in the 2% range. So when we go to town meeting next year and we ask for an override, because that's what we're pledging ourselves now to do, we're going to need everyone's support at this table to get that to happen, and everyone out there support to make it happen. Getting an override through town meeting is a very difficult challenge. One of the things that you need to do, why I think it's wise for us to wait, I might be skeptical in voting for it this year, because we don't yet have the financial stability. We have not proven ourselves to have the financial stability and the fiduciary responsibility to do it well. We are proving that ourselves right now this year with amazing leadership and financial prowess from Gail and the superintendent. We are doing those things. We need to do that this year if we want to say to the community that you can, in fact, trust us. So I think that goes to our benefit for next year. I also think that once the strategic plan is set, and we know what our 3 or 5 year plan is and what we're going to do and why and how much money we need to do it, we have a much better case to make before the public. Again, people aren't going to just give us more money for the kids. They're going to give us more money for these specific things we're going to do for the kids. Although I would like more money now, I always want more money for the kids. I think this is a more prudent and achievable goal with a better plan in place to get what we need for the long-term success of our district that we want and the changes that we need to make for our kiddos. And I think in the long run, that's what's going to be best for our kids. So, having said all that, I will move us along to a vote. Understanding of what we're voting on, 72-2, and we're going to allow them to use the extra money. And I think implied in that is that we're going to work together to get an override for fiscal year '28.
Right, and just specifically, it's 1.5 of the circuit breaker. So
Correct.
the actual total is 73.7.
Yes. All righty. Mr. Moskowitz.
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Mrs. Cormier.
Yes.
And I vote yes. And officially it's 4-0, but Mrs. Sams indicated that she would have voted yes as well.
Thank you. It's now
Thank you.
officially the school committee's recommended budget.
Now, our document, so from here, it goes on to the select board, it goes to fiscal, to the
And
FinCom.
finance committee, yep.
They do all their things, they'll get moved up through the system and eventually appear in a warrant. Moving on to public comment. Member comment.
Greece was great. One more shout out for folks to volunteer for the, I keep wanting to say, get the name wrong, the DECA thing, the fiscal, Credit for Life.
Credit for life.
Yes, volunteers still need for Credit for Life. And, one other thing, I was happy to judge again at the robotics. It was great. I don't have the results in front of me, but I know one of the North Andover teams, when I left late that afternoon, was way out in front, so I assume that they made it to the finish line. I'm not sure. But I know we definitely showed well. And it's as always, a rewarding experience.
Do you want to tell us how they engineered their robot
It
to
takes-
be so successful,
The
David?
North Andover, I think,
Yeah, what did it do better than all the others? Why is this robot better than all
All
other
other
robots?
Because it won.
Well, no, but in what way?
no, I only saw them briefly, but what I can say is that it's a skilled team. I think that they have like, this was their senior team, they made up of seniors. They work together really well. I remember interviewing them and that same team in the fall. So they're good. They each have their job to do. There's 3 of them two that actually drive it, and one that's kind of like the coxswain in a boat, like kind of calling out the commands.
Oh, yeah, right. The smaller person
In
who
the
shouts
front.
yes,
And
that's
who
right.
shouts out, yeah, so they have one of those, and they have the 2 drivers. They work together as a team. Their documentation was excellent. And they had some pretty good competition, too. But again, my job was mostly looking at their engineering notebooks and their presentations, how they presented themselves, that kind of thing.
Isn't the coxswain in the rear? Because
I'm not much
the
of a...
rowers are looking backwards. When you row a boat, you look backwards,
Yeah,
right?
yes.
If
He's in
you
the
had
back.
rowed a boat as often as I have, and you knew how hard it was to make sure you don't bump into something, you would know you're looking
Well,
back.
not all of us lived before this team engine, Mr.
So you,
Mr.
the coxswain
It's
should
in the
be
back.
seen, but yeah, I believe so.
In the back. I've never rowed, so I don't know.
Mrs. Cormier, your comment.
Sorry.
So I'm just going to take a little bit of liberty, so make my member comment's going to a slightly personal touch. I did miss our last meeting. I missed it for a family's medical emergency whose life was saved by blood donation. So I'd like to thank everyone who has ever donated blood and on behalf of other family members who's has loved ones who were saved by blood donations. Would like to call out that the American Red Cross runs numerous blood drives in our town. This week they had one. at the North Andover Masonic Lodge. It was great, it was easy, was there. They only stuck me once, which never happens, but they will be back there on February 9th. So if you would consider giving blood, thank you in advance from a family member who's,
Still living.
yes, thank you.
Thank you all. Mine's, well, not so, where I go from, I go here. So, Mrs. Cormier, when is town meeting?
It is May 12th.
Thank you. We are asking actually as a school committee for 3 very big things at town meeting that is cost a lot of money, and we actually need everyone there and support, and hopefully their yes votes. So our 3 big asks this year at town meeting is, number 1, we're looking to fund the debt for the Kittredge Elementary School project once it's approved on the February 25th, as well as the youth center and fire station.
Fire station.
But that is 1 vote, so please be there to support that big thing. Number 2, the capital improvement plan project is a separate vote that includes not only the things that we submitted as a department, but also the rest of the town submitted. There's a lot of great things as part of the capital improvement plans for the town, so please be there to vote yes for both the schools and for everything else. And please be there to vote yes for the budget that we just approved as part of the town's operating budget, because we need your support to do that. Town meeting has the official capacity to say yes or no to our recommendations. That's all we did was recommend, but we need them to say yes and approve it so we can continue to do the things we need to do for the town. So,
If I'm not mistaken, Mr. Chair, this town meeting is set up in such a way that the budget is done first.
the town moderator will arrange the agenda to make sure that things get done in an efficient way so that is fair and, what are the words?
No, but I believe his commitment is to get the budget,
Yep.
so that people who want to follow your very good advice
They can do that.
can do it safely without worrying that they're going to have to be there till midnight,
Yes. So
probably.
May 12th usually starts around 6:30, but we'll make that,
May 12th
and-
starts at midnight.
usually, it's on May 12th. Usually meeting starts around 6:30.
Right.
Babysitting will be available. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Go ahead.
So moved.
Thank you.
And I'll second.
Thank you. Mr. Moskovich?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Cormier?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, we are adjourned. Thank you all.